The iPad Pro Magic Keyboard case 1 week later. What Apple isn't telling you, things you didn't know about the Magic Keyboard, everything is going to be revealed all in this video. By the way, this is exactly how it looks. I didn't clean it. I purposely did not clean it so you guys can see the fingerprints, the smudges. So to clean up your Magic Keyboard case, you want to take a slightly damp microfiber cleaning cloth and just wipe it. And all this stuff is going to just wipe all away. All your problems just wipes away. So keep in mind, this is just damp with water, no alcohol, no chemicals. So back to the review. I got it for the 2018 iPad Pro. It fits perfectly. It's going to look a little weird because you got this large cutout. But other than that, you could probably be a little creative. Probably put a fancy sticker there. Make it look like you have the iPad Pro 2020. A lot of people have been saying this iPad is heavier with the Magic Keyboard installed. And yeah, I agree, but it's not heavy to the point where you can't carry it nowhere. It's still portable, but it's just going to be slightly heavier than just the iPad only. This right here, this is heavy. This is a very old computer that I found. Yeah, super duper heavy. It's an old computer I found in the basement. This thing is so old that it doesn't even have USBs. It has a floppy disk on the side, a CD drive, and yeah, this thing is chunky. Compared to that, this is nothing. Oops. Now opening up the MacBook Pro, the Magic Keyboard, you guys can see it wakes up the iPad just fine. But one thing I really do notice, it don't turn on right away. So you can see the iPad is still off right when you have that second fold. So right when you have this fold here, when you do this, then it wakes up. So that was something interesting that I realized. And then, you know what, I'm gonna move this iPhone right now. This thing is killing me. And yeah, of course you could click on the space bar, or really any key to wake up or unlock your iPad, because you have Face ID and you're open and you're good to go. The trackpad is fantastic. That's the star of the show. So you could take 3 fingers and swipe up and hold, and you have your app switcher just like that. You can switch between the apps. Very, very cool. Very, very fluid. Now, by the way, the trackpad is made out of glass, so the glass is going to give you that smoothness. You know, when you swiping your fingers around, it feels like quality. And of course, you spend $300+, you better get that quality. You could take 2 fingers to swipe across your apps. Really, really nice. I appreciate that. So you have your control center here. You could click on that. You could click on toggles, and then you could take 2 fingers to slide up and down the sliders. Very, very quick and easy. You could do just like that. I use this all the time since the keyboard doesn't have any function keys, which we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Apple is known for having great trackpads, and this here is no exception. This is definitely magic, hence the name. I have my tracking speed slightly faster. That's basically how fast the cursor can move, but I like having it just about here. But you can have it super duper fast and you have it go crazy. And I also have tap to click enable. I feel like this gives a more natural feeling to the iPad because this is much of a touch OS. So I feel like just clicking, that's good and that's cool. But something about tapping and tapping and tapping, it just feels great. It feels natural. I can scroll up and down, and if I see a link I want, I just tap on it, and I'm good to go. So that's definitely good. In terms of the actual trackpad, it is a bit small, but the width is pretty much the same exact size as a MacBook. This is something that you can easily get used to very, very quickly, and it clicks anywhere too. That's definitely a good look. So no matter where you click, it's gonna just go. Just like that, no problem. Now in terms of the keyboard, it felt a little cramped because this isn't a full-size keyboard. This is the 11-inch iPad Pro model, but if you get the 12.9-inch, you're gonna feel right at home because that's a full-size keyboard. But here, it took me 2 days to really get familiar with it. I went onto this website, typingtest.com, and I just typed up a couple of sentences and some text, and I just gotten used to the keyboard very, very fluent. And yeah, this definitely did improve my typing on the iPad. They even have some of the history that I did. So April 24th, I test this out. And yeah, I have average typing speed. The keyboard, it has some travel. It feels nice to type on, I must say. Now, something that you guys probably didn't know, when you're taking screenshots on your iPad, the mouse cursor is still going to remain there. You guys see that? So the mouse cursor is still remaining. It's right there. So when I was taking some screenshots of an important document, I would have to move the cursor somewhere. But Apple can fix this with a software update. That's just something that you just probably didn't know. You get what I'm saying? So I hope on iOS they'll fix this problem, have it hidden when you're taking screenshots. But on Mac, you still see your mouse cursor anyway. But I don't know. I think it'll be a nice option to hide that. Picture-in-picture zoom. This is something I didn't realize. So if I go to Twitch and I activate picture-in-picture, who should I watch? Let's watch Dr. Disrespect. And I activate picture-in-picture. I go home. That works normal. But now I can use my finger. I can use 2 fingers. And I can pinch it to enlarge it. So that's pretty cool. So I can make it smaller, larger. So that's just something I didn't know when I at first unboxed it. So yeah, you can move this around with your cursor, of course. And yeah, you can make it bigger, smaller, just by pinching on your trackpad. Third-party keyboards are a little bit on the buggy side. So on the keyboard here, you have your global button. So if I press that button, you can switch between Grammarly, emojis. You know, I have Grammarly installed just in case. If I'm filling out an important document, I'm not sounding crazy. And I could press enter on emojis. That works fine. But when I try to use Grammarly, it just is so buggy. Maybe that's a Grammarly thing. Maybe they need to update that. But even if I go with the regular keyboard, that just doesn't work because I have the keyboard connected. So the on-screen keyboard is just non-existent. Once you have this thing connected, this is the only thing you have. You just have the emojis, and it's just gonna go away. So I don't know. That's just a little bit on the weird side. I can't even use third-party keyboards. So yeah, I would have to take off the keyboard in order for me to use Grammarly, which is a little bit annoying. And then I can use Grammarly just like that. So that just works. But as soon as I connect it, it goes away. And then I can't activate Grammarly until I take it off. No dictation. So once you have this keyboard connected, you don't have any dictation. So there's no dictation key on here. I think it would have been nice to have a little Siri button, like to, talk to speak or talk to text, I should say. So even if I hold this, you're not going to have no kind of dictation. You have to take off the keyboard case, and then you're going to make sure you have the keyboard enabled. And you guys see that? This is dictation. So I could, hi, my name is SimplyPops, and I'm testing out the magic keyboard case. That is dictation. So I can't do that on the keyboard. There's no key. But I would say though, it's very, very easy to disconnect and connect your keyboard. So it's no setup process. You just put it on and you're good to go. But still, opening up the case is a little bit of a challenge, just because if you open it like this, you got to be careful. Your iPad could slide out. So you got to be very careful when you opening up your keyboard. So make sure you have the camera facing to you, and then open it up from the side. Now you can't open this up with one hand. I did try doing it on the unboxing, but what happened is you're scratching up the iPad. So you don't want to scratch up your iPad. You want to have 2 hands and just do like this. Do what I do. Just put your fingers down, put your thumbs down, and you open it up. That's the best way to do it. Just bring it down and you're good to go. Maybe they could have put like a little lip on the keyboard case itself so it's easier to hold. I feel like Apple could have done something to make it easier to open up your iPad, but hey, that's just something that we got to go through. And overall, I just wish there was more mouse support on applications such as YouTube. If I go into YouTube and you do have that pinch to zoom in or pinch to make it full screen, that's pretty cool. But I wish there was a 2-finger slide down to hide the video. I didn't really do it there. You're gonna have to click and then drag down. But I wish there was more gestures on the YouTube applications and just more apps in general. That's really up to the app developers. That's not really an Apple thing. When I'm seeing with these other reviewers, they saying, oh, how am I going to adjust the brightness? I will have to physically do this. And yeah, you could do that, but you could just hover over your mouse and slide up and down just like that. Now, it's going to take more time. That's more steps, but it's very, very fluid. You don't even think about it. So I'm watching a YouTube video. Boop, I want to raise up the brightness and I'm good. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Now, Apple could fix this by having shortcuts, Command plus or Command minus to increase the brightness. And speaking of brightness, you can't even adjust your keyboard brightness. But yet again, I think Apple could find a solution or fix this by having something on the control center. So by the brightness, you have your keyboard brightness slider on the one of the toggles here. That would be cool. I think Apple could do something like that on an update. But yeah, I mean, it's little nitpicks like that, but it doesn't bother me. Like, I never find myself needing to adjust the keyboard brightness because the keyboard, it just knows when you need it. And when you're in a dark environment, the backlight is going to come on. When you're watching videos, after a while the backlight is going to turn off until you touch the keyboard again. It's going to come right back on. So in a sense, it's not really necessary. It comes on when you need it, and when you don't need it, it just shuts off. It's still not there. You still have to physically go into the settings, and then you have to go into keyboard, then you have to go into hardware keyboard, and then you can adjust it just like that. And even so, you can't even adjust it right now because there's so much light going on. So yeah, it's a little weird, but hey, it works to the point where I don't find myself needing to adjust the keyboard brightness. Absolutely love the Type-C on the side because when I'm working, the Type-C cable is here, so I can just easily plug it in, and it's so minimalistic because you're not going to have a cord hanging on the side. You don't have to rewire the wire. Everything is right here on the side, and it just looks so freaking beautiful. I still love my Magic Keyboard, and I would say this is for any creator who types a lot, or maybe if you're going to be editing videos, you can utilize the shortcut very well. The trackpad is amazing. The keyboard is amazing. It is those little gripes. And even durability concerns, like I mentioned on the unboxing. You know, I'm afraid that things are going to get in between the keys or fingerprints on the case in general. And, you know, the hinge, I think the hinge is going to be sturdy, which, by the way, it is. This thing is not going anywhere. It's not going to drop my iPad, even if I shake it crazy. You know, this thing is definitely a tank, and that's why it's so heavy. The keyboard case itself is just to hold the iPad in place. So yeah, this is not going anywhere. It just floats the iPad. It looks so badass, man. It really does. Alright guys, that pretty much concludes my review of the Magic Keyboard. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to drop them down below. Make sure you guys subscribe with notifications on. And yeah, hope you guys stay safe and stay simple. Peace.